Where there's a will, there's a skillful way. Mel Kiper and Field Yates are breaking down the top skill players of the 2026 NFL Draft. That's coming up. Plus, as always, we respond to your questions, your takes, and your draft dreams live as First Draft starts right now. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to First Draft alongside the legends, Mel Kiper and Field Yates. I am Greeny. We have a lot of surprises for you along the way today. Some special treats as we work our way through this delightful Thanksgiving week. And we're going to get to the crux of today's episode will be Mel and Field will name the top 10 skill players, so excluding the quarterbacks, in the 2026 class. But first things first, we had the moment we've all been waiting for. Shedeur Sanders finally got to start an NFL game. The entire world wants to know what Mel Kiper thought. It is no secret, Mel. You were a believer in Shedeur. You never stopped feeling that way. Now he is 1-0, the first Cleveland Browns quarterback to start 1-0 in this millennium. What was your reaction, first and foremost, Mel, to Shedeur's start?
Happy for him, for the Cleveland Browns, and obviously the defense. Myles Garrett's ready to set the NFL record. They couldn't block him. There's three things. You talk about, in baseball, what did they say at Bull Durham? You remember, Greeny. What do you throw the ball? Yeah, hit the ball, you catch the ball and all that. And in football, it's really very simple, right? It's BTC, blocking, tackling, and concentration. That's what I say, blocking, tackling, and concentration. And to me, when you think about this game, they couldn't block him. You can't beat him if you can't block him. But in terms of Shedeur, the operations for a young quarterback, when you see quarterbacks running up, clapping, and then the time's ticking down, and you got to delay a game, or you got to take a timeout, or you end up the game with one timeout left or no timeouts left because the operations weren't good. And he looks a little confused out there. He looks like a deer in headlights. I never saw that. I didn't see it against Baltimore when he was getting hit on the whole second half. So I think the poise, the confidence, by playing in a lot of games in college, both at Jackson State and at Colorado, has helped him. And certainly, I think when you think about the plays that he made down the field, we talk about accuracy with him. That was the thing with him. He's so accurate. He can be a surgeon. If you just give him a fortress in front of him, give him some time, he can be a surgeon. And some of the throws he made, and he only had the one sack where he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't an 8, 9, 10-yard loss. It was, 2 yards? And he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. He got the ball out. He showed touch. When he had to let it rip, he did. He had the one bad throw when the linebacker sunk in the hook zone, and he picked it off. Okay, that happens. Baker had a bad pick against the Bills and turned that game a couple weeks ago. It all happens. They're going to learn from mistakes. In order to get better, you got to make mistakes. And you learn from those mistakes, and he'll keep making them. And he's going to have uneven performances. He'll have some good, bad, and ugly. That's just the nature of being a rookie quarterback in this league who never played with the ones, right? But I think for Shedeur, I feel good because everything I see with him, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback. And I think that's the most important thing you can say about a rookie in this league.
First of all, I'm proud of you, Mel. I'm proud. That was fairly level-headed. I thought that might be a little more dramatic from you.
No. I'm never one to. I don't do victory laps.
Okay.
I don't do victory lap for one game because I go back. I go, hey, who had the best debut ever in the history of rookie quarterbers? Will Levis did.
Oh, I think
remember
it was,
4 touchdown passes.
Wasn't it Marcus Mariota as well? Yeah.
Again, and then you have just things happen, organization and whatever. We don't get into that, but I never go into anything overconfident. Where it's a game, my high school Calvert Hall when we were winning championship, I didn't go in any of those games like, oh, we're going to win this game, or I go in nervous about every game and about every player I like. I will never. Josh Allen, same way. Never going to ever do. Never will you ever see me do a victory lap. I always consider myself, and Green knows this, I consider myself a defense attorney for a lot of young players who are unfairly criticized. So I always tell Green out in draft day, it's like, that's what you feel like, a defense attorney, because you get all this craziness thrust upon these players, and a lot of it's just complete BS.
Yeah, Kiper and Kipers representing Levis and Levis of the last episode. People, of course, recall that. The two things that really were the most important for me in the positive category for Shedeur, one was the throw that he made to Isaiah Bond, which was a 50-plus yard reception, was probably the best throw from any Cleveland Browns quarterback all season. I don't know that that's a play that Dylan Gabriel has in his bag. eluding some pressure, driving the football down the field with accuracy. That was a great throw from Shedeur. Second of all, Mel mentioned it already. 1 sack taken all day. And that was a problem against the Ravens when he played without any preparation, of course, the week prior after Dillon Gabriel got concussed. But that was a trait coming into the NFL that I wanted to see better from Shedeur Sanders. When pressure comes down on you, are you going to try to step up into the pocket and elude it? Or will you try to backpedal your way out of it, which for average athlete at best at the quarterback spot is not a recipe for success. Those two things were good. Let's be candid about this performance and this game. It was the defense. The Browns had 10 sacks of Geno Smith. The Raiders mustered a measly 10 points, 7 of which came late in that game. Most of what Shedeur Sanders was asked to do was throw the football on easy completions. So I think this was a solid overall debut for Shedeur Sanders. I do not have any different bottom line feelings about the Browns quarterback room now and going forward. I still fully expect them to be in the market for a quarterback at the very top of the 2026 NFL draft.
And also, one other last thing on this. The defense was playing great, and they didn't have to ask him to do that much. I mean, they didn't have to. Just don't turn it over. He had the one turnover that resulted in 3 points. That's it. But, they're not going to score. They can't get anything. Once we got 14 points on the board, they're not getting the 14. So I think they knew that as well. But I think when you look at the Jerry Jeudy play, he makes the throw to Jerry Jeudy. Now, Jerry Jeudy's doing whatever he was doing. He ends up fumbling the ball away. That could have resulted in more points. So that would have been a drive that could have gone down and maybe gotten another touchdown. So I think they did what they needed to do. He did what he needed to do. That's all you can do as a young quarterback, win the game. And he won his game. Something hasn't been happening. That's what he said. So we'll move on. Like I said, there's going to be uneven performances. We'll see how they handle whole Dillon Gabriel coming back from the concussion, how they work that out the rest of the year. And to the point about these young quarterbacks, is always the next best thing. What they have to see internally is, and I'm not talking about Dillon, I think it's Shedeur. Shedeur is the one that, like I say, looks like a successful NFL starting quarterback with more time and more experience coming his way.
And I'll remind you, this is First Draft. We are with you every single week, every Wednesday on the NFL on ESPN YouTube channel, on ESPN2, wherever you get your podcasts. You can scan the QR code you see on your screen. You catch up with all the conversations we've had all year long. Last week, we redrafted the top 10 players in last year's class. So today, we're going to look forward again, and we're going to talk about the top skill players. And you've mentioned it already a few times. Field, we've talked about Mel and how he feels about running backs in the first round, but there was just something different about Jeremiyah Love. And we have a tweet here from Zach, who tweets at us, will Jeremiyah Love go in the top 10 of this class? Field, I'll put that question to you.
Yeah, I think he will end up going in the top 10, Greeny, because some of these discussions that we have in late November or even early December sometimes are long gone and forgotten by the time we get to April. And this is not a class that is chock full of a bunch of blue chip players. Jeremiyah Love is one of those players. I will offer the team that I think is the one that, if it happened and they end up picking in the top 10, then I would say to myself, this is the exception, not the rule. It's the Los Angeles Rams, who, by the way, already have a terrific running back in Kyren Williams that they now pay $12 million per season as one of the better heavy workload running backs in the entire NFL.
Hey, Blake Corum's not bad either, Field.
He's not bad, correct. He ran well on Sunday night against the Buccaneers, did Blake Corum. But the Rams are a team that might win the Super Bowl this season. So if Sean McVay said, I think this guy can be Christian McCaffrey light, I'm okay with them just adding to their embarrassment of offensive riches.
He's 55 if he gets
up with seriously, right?
Are you kidding me?
But I do think he ends up going somewhere in the first 10 picks, Greeny. And one of the other reasons why is because while Ashton Jeanty is a very, very capable pass catcher, Jeremiyah Love is a more versatile and diverse pass catcher in terms of what he can do routes-wise and some of the stuff that he can do as kind of a natural hands catcher that I think Ashton Jeanty is not quite in the same category as. Now, Jeanty is a better power runner, has elite, rare contact balance. He can make defenders miss in the hole. All of those things speak for themselves for Jeanty. But Love is this play-in-space player who I do think ends up going somewhere in the first 10 picks.
Yeah. I mean, 4 of the last 5 games, he's had a run of over 56 yards. And the only one he didn't was 48 yards in the other game. Yeah. Same thing last year he did it. Remember the Indiana game, went almost 100 yards at the Tony Dorsett deal against the Minnesota Vikings in that game. But, the way he catches it, he's averaging 7-1 a carry. He doesn't fumble the ball. I don't think he's had a fumble in his 3 years there. Lost. So, again, Jeremiyah Love, and I watch Notre Dame all the time, he's special. And you can make an argument. The team that gets him will say, we got the best player in this draft. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
We got the best football player in this draft in Jeremiyah Love, wherever they get him. And I don't know where he's going to come off the board. We don't know what the order is going to look like, but you can make a strong case that he is number one on a lot of boards. If he's not number one, he's got to be 2 or 3. He cannot be below 3. So, you're getting an elite guy who can, like I say, be that versatile piece of kind of Reggie Bush coming out was the second pick when Mario Williams, defensive end, went number 1. Yep. Reggie, we said we could put an 85 instead of a 5 on his jersey, and he could be a slot receiver and be a return man and do all that stuff. And for Jeremiyah Love, he's a special football player.
Do you anticipate, Mel, that his grade will be higher than Genti's grade? I know we still have some games to be played and stuff, but he'll be graded higher than Genti?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep.
You think so too, Phil? Like this is a better, people like to put prospects into perspective. This is an even better prospect than Genti was last year when Genti went 6.
I think it's very close, Greeny. I think it's important to note that this player's skill set is much more Bijan Robinson than it is Ashton Genti, right? The dynamic open field athlete, very good runner, as is Bijan as well. But when we watch Bijan play, some of the stuff he does is just as much the horizontal stuff. It's like, next thing you know, he's on the perimeter, he's breaking ankles of prospective tacklers. He's excellent in the passing game. Jeremiyah Love has some of those shades in his game as well. But yes, I do think this is a player who, independent of how you feel about taking a running back very high, will be one of the 8 to 10 best prospects on almost every single team's big board.
Okay, so we're doing the top 10 skill position players today, excluding the quarterback. So Jeremiyah Love is at the top. I have another tweet for you here, Mel. Carolina Commander wants to know who's got the best chance to be a true wide receiver 1 in the NFL. Feels like a deep wide receiver class. So right now, Mel, which receiver do you have on top of the board?
Well, if you say true wide receiver and you say slot receiver would be Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon is a dynamic player. I mean, Oregon contained him. He had a couple touchdowns, but Oregon contained him. But, we heard what Kirk Ferentz said about him. Best receiver I've ever seen. Yeah. And, Makai Lemon is that slot receiver. Now, Jordyn Tyson's coming back. He had a couple catches against Colorado from that hamstring. He's had some injury issues. He had the knee, then he had the collarbone, now he has this. But I think it's Carnell, Tate, and Jordyn Tyson kind of vying. Phil, tell me if I'm wrong. I think it's Tyson and Tate vying for that, and then the slot guy would be Makai Lemon.
Yeah, and I think all 3 are top 15 picks, though, Mel. I don't have 15 players graded higher than those 3 in total. I do think that Jordyn Tyson and Carnell Tate, because of their combination of size and likely speed as well, will end up going a little bit higher here than Makai Lemon. Tyson, who began his college career at Colorado, Greeny, get some of these notes ready, the younger brother of Cavaliers' former first-round pick, Jalen Tyson, who finished his college career at Cal. So there's plenty of pedigree in this family. Unbelievably fluid, really good, really comfortable with the football in his hands. Was a great punt returner during his time at Colorado as well. Arizona State season has been a bit more up and down this year. Sam Levitt sounds like he is going to leave, but Tyson, back from injury now, has a real chance to be a top 10 or so selection. Carnell Tate and Makai Lemon are going to fight to be my guy in this year's draft class. Carnell Tate, I just say, hey, death taxes and Ohio State wide receivers going in the first round, right? That's what these guys do. Unbelievably professional wide receiver already is Carnell Tate. Route running, pristine. Catch radius, outstanding. His ability to make catches that are extraordinary, look ordinary, speaks for itself. Good size, good speed. He is terrific. And then Makai Lemon, I'm not surprised that Kirk Ferentz said that about him after that game, because Makai Lemon against Iowa is, and I'm not speaking with hyperbole right now, gentlemen, it's the single best game I've watched from any prospect so far during the 2025 college football season. He made at least 3 jaw-dropping catches in this game.
Yeah, I told him, Greeny, I said a few weeks ago, nobody else can talk about Makai Lemon. He's my guy.
He's yours? I get Carnell Tate.
He broke the rule. No, I said there's no Lemon. There's no Lemon. He's Makai Lemon. But he's no. And then you think about Carnell Tate getting back and Tyson coming back. These guys have been banged up a little bit. You think about the hamstring with Tate out with 3 games. He'll be back for Michigan. So we'll see all these guys, obviously. You think about where we are coming up with some of these big games. For Carnell Tate with Ohio State moving forward, hoping to be a repeat champion this year. We'll see there what he can do. Jeremiah Smith missed that game as well. It's amazing. The line dropped from like 32.5, 33 down to like 28, and they still ended up winning by 33. So it didn't even matter. He's got off to a little slow start. It was 7-3 into the second quarter, and then they were off to the races. But now Carnell Tate, Jordyn Tyson, who by the way, is coached by Hines Ward. Okay. Hines Ward is the wide receiver coach at Arizona State. So you got a Hines Ward kind of walking you through, you got a big head start on everybody else. So those 3 guys, and I always said Makai Lemon plays fierce. He does. Tyson as well. And Tate character off the charts. Those three guys, you say top 15 field, I'd be surprised if those three got out of the top 10 to 12. So I might even go a little higher than that. Those three are going to have a grade. In a draft that is a little underwhelming, those three have a chance to be way up there.
And it's a strong position, right? So we've got a Twitter question here from Michael Beeman, who tweets, it feels like every year we hear that one position is really deep in this draft. Which position is really deep? And it sounds to me like you guys are saying wide receiver, because we have Jordyn Tyson, and we talked about him, and we have Carnell Tate, and you talked about him, and you have Makai Lemon, and you talked about him, and they come right behind Jeremiyah Love at the top of this class. As far as, again, we're excluding the quarterbacks, and we're going to other skill position players. Yep. Lemon is the one that so many people love, but it doesn't end there. So, for example, Mel, we have a Twitter question from Adam Bray, who asks, will Georgia have a player selected in round one? And the answer is they probably will have a wide receiver.
Zachariah Branch, USC to Georgia, and he's kind of like going to go back to a receiving class a few years ago that we all loved, and some people were kind of saying we were overrating. We were told we were overrating some of these guys, and remember who those guys were? We were told we were overrating.
Jackson Smith and Jigba,
Zay Flowers, Jordan
Addison, Jordan
Johnston. They all went boom, 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 but they got in, I believe, around that 20 spot field, right?
They did 20 through 23.
And they had a much higher grade. At least I thought they would go higher than that. Zay, to me, what Zay does with the ball in his hands, the yards after catch, to be the extension of the run game, do all the things, jet sweep and fake the jet sweep and get defenses moving. That's what Zachariah Branch will be able to do in the NFL. So if you love Zay Flowers, you love Zachariah Branch. He gives you the return ability as well. Zachariah Branch with the ball in his hands. Like Zay, he'll have a drop every now and then. Yep. Zay had a drop yesterday. He has dropped at BC, had a couple here and there. They exaggerated that. He's got good hands. When you're trying to run, you're all of a sudden, when you're a run after the catch, you're going to have a drop every now and then, right? You're trying to go before you got it. But at the end of the day, Zachariah Branch, to me, once he tests as one of the faster players in this draft and how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands and the return, which, by the way, and I brought this up, Graney and Field, how about these returns?
In the NFL, it matters.
Oh, it's huge now. It's so huge now. Ray Davis had the kick return the other night. The field position they were able to get with him and all these other, Mostert even, and all these different guys returning kicks. It's big. So Zachariah Branch on the special teams in the return game, punt and kickoff, will be really big in the NFL as well. He's right there as somebody I figure probably figures to go right around that 20 to 25 spot.
I'm a little lower on Zachariah Branch only because it takes a very unique exception for a player of this size, like Zay Flowers, to go in the first round. It's somebody who's just like, is he the same level of downfield receiver that Zay Flowers was? Zay Flowers was the rare small receiver who played big, and we continue to see that when he gets opportunities with the Ravens. Not as sold as of right now on Zachariah Branch, but I do think somewhere in round 2 would not surprise me at all, because he is dynamite when the football is in his hands.
So look, the NFL is a passing league. Every team, it seems, has at least one, if not two, dynamic wide receivers. You see, the better teams certainly need to have that. So let's keep the party going. There are a lot of wide receivers in this class. Field, you have another one, this one from the Big Ten.
Yeah, well, I had to remind myself that Washington is in the Big Ten here, Greeny, because Denzel Boston, I think of as a Pac-12 wide receiver, but Denzel Boston has been awesome for the Huskies this season. He has outstanding size. He is buttery smooth as a route runner. He has very, very good hands as well. He can win on the perimeter. I like his versatility to win as a big slot as well. We are seeing some of these receivers in the NFL take that next step when they are able to work inside, because one of the great advantages you get as a top flight receiver playing in the slot is that teams can't park their number one corner, right? The Broncos don't throw Pat Surtain in the slot because they want to neutralize a slot receiver. The Colts don't put Sauce Gardner in the slot. The Patriots don't use Christian Gonzalez in the slot. Whoever your top, the Browns with Denzel Ward, whoever you think are the best corners, they don't often travel into the slot because you're dealing with traffic there. And the Falcons have shown themselves very adept with Drake London, playing him out of the slot and getting him some big-time opportunities, which has led to an amazing season for him. Denzel Boston can play in the slot as well. I think he's looked faster on tape this year compared to last season. Plays in a great offense with Jed Fish leading the way out there in Washington. Wouldn't surprise me if he's a top 20 pick as well. On top of the height, the weight, the speed, excellent young man as well. To me, a first-round wide receiver all day long.
Yeah, guaranteed. No question, guaranteed. And we go a little further along, but there is another guy who's going to be catching the ball, is not a wide receiver that will go higher than some of these wide receivers.
Okay.
And that's a kid, Greeny, you know who I'm talking about here with the Oregon Ducks. Yeah. And that's Kenyon Sadiq. Kenyon Sadiq is worthy of being. When you see what Tyler Warren's doing, you see what Colston Loveland are doing, and you watch Kenyon Sadiq. He's not going to catch 100 balls and 102 balls like Tyler Warren did. But over the last 2 games, he has 14 catches, 3 touchdowns over the last couple of games. He, like a couple of the wide receivers, injured, Dante Moore has not had the talent around him because of some injuries that he thought he would. The left tackle was out this past week. The right tackle missed some time. Sadiq missed some time. Then you had Bryant and Decory Moore, the great freshman, missed some time. Still out last week. So, you look at Dante Moore, he hasn't had all those pieces around him. But when he has, even when he hasn't, it doesn't matter. He's outstanding. But I think when you look at a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, he is such a gifted athlete. And he is such a great character kid with enormous talent. You got to believe and feel. I got to think he's going to be in a top 10 to 12 discussion after all said and done with how he'll come into the league right away and start being productive and helping an offense immensely.
This is the question that I have on Kenyon Sadiq. He is on the short list for best run after catch players in the entire class, has had some breathtaking moments over the past couple of weeks where he has been utilized more after coming back from injury. He and Dante Moore have a special connection. It's really been fun to watch, especially of late. He's probably going to check in around 6'2", Mel. Is he an H-back? Is he a movable chess piece? Is he a conventional tight end? Because if he's under 6'3", Mel, there's going to be some conversation about, the same conversations we have with players every year in the draft. Height, weight, speed. Are these guys really going to go that high at a non-premium position, right? Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland were top 8 prospects on my board. Neither of them went in the top 8 last year. Brock Bowers, top 7 player on my board 2 seasons ago. He ends up going 13th because of all the quarterbacks that jumped ahead of him in the order. So I think Sadiq goes somewhere, maybe more in the late first than the early first, in my opinion, as of right now. But he has made his case over these past couple of weeks. And if you want to do a conversation about like the most enjoyable players to study on tape, Kenyon Sadiq certainly has a case to be on that list.
All right, you gave an over-under. I'll do the Johnny. I'm Johnny Avello now.
Okay,
he's the line maker at DraftKings, right? Okay. John, good great friend of mine, one of the best guys out there, and the smartest football guys out there. What a mind Johnny Avello has. Johnny Avello, what over/under? I'm gonna be Johnny Avello.
Give me a number. Yeah, give me a
number.
Johnny
won't care. Johnny will say, "Go right ahead." I'm gonna say the over/under for Kenyon Sadiq in the draft. Is 16.5. Where would you go, over or under?
I'm going to go under, meaning later than 16.5. So 17 or later here, Mel. And by the way, I'm going to give you no unique circumstances. If he gets hurt in the pre-draft process, we'll avoid this discussion, right? Or something like that. Assuming he stays healthy and there's no extenuating circumstances, I will go 17th or later for Kenyon Sadiq.
I'm going to go before that. I'm going to go, he goes inside. I'm going to say he goes inside of 16.
Okay. I like it.
Are we living in a world where tight end is still not considered a premium position? I find that fascinating because just a couple of observations, some of which are fairly obvious. We've had 2 dynasties in the NFL in the last 20 years. One of them was the Patriots. The primary receiving weapon on those teams was Rob Gronkowski. The current one is the Chiefs. The primary receiving option on those teams has been Travis Kelce. We live in a league now where they ask young quarterbacks to come in and play quickly, and there is no better friend a young quarterback has than someone who can find him some space in the middle of the field. Defenses are being built from the outside in as opposed to the inside out. So the middle of the field right now is where the really good quarterbacks are making things happen. Yeah, I understand, if you just look at the pecking order of what they get paid and
that's the point. Yep.
When they get franchise tagged and all that sort of stuff, the tight ends are way below. But it feels to me like a really good tight end is sort of an invaluable piece, if only because maybe it's a little scarcer than the wide receiver. Am I making any sense at all?
You are, Greeny, but the money is telling us otherwise. I'll give you the option here to choose from the following 4 players that you could win with going forward for the next 3 to 4 seasons. They are, in whatever order I read them, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, and Trey McBride. Which of those 4 would you like to build an offense around most?
I know why because you're going to tell me that the answer is that Trey McBride gets paid the least, right? That's what you're
by
gonna
a lot, by
right.
a lot than any of those out of those four guys. So your logic is totally on the mark. The NFL has told us that they do not value it at the same level, which I bring that up only in the context of where a player might be drafted who plays a non-premium position. Again, Brock Bowers going outside the top 10 was borderline unfathomable going into the draft, and then he's sitting there waiting for the Raiders at number 13 because quarterbacks are going to get pushed up, and offensive tackles and wide receivers and pass rushers in that year's draft class.
Yeah, who's going to be one of the key guys for maybe Shedeur Sanders, right? It's going to be Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah.
Harold Fannin Jr., every time you look at that box score and you went to the stats on a Bowling Green game, he had 12 or more
off
catches.
The charts.
Remember the Penn State game, Field, when he had a ton of catches?
Of course,
more than a dozen. Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
It didn't matter. Harold Fannin Jr. is a key guy. So I'm with you. That's why I can't. It'll be fun to see where we already can mark it down about Kenyon Sadiq, where we have a major difference of opinion on where it'll go. I got to believe sometimes you say, do you learn from mistakes? Do you learn from guys that shouldn't have dropped it? You know, when he's a talented, skilled athlete, he's going to come right in and be the quarterback's best friend and catch a ton of balls and give you, I'd say a very willing blocker, improving blocker as well. I'll take Kenyon Sadiq on my team any day of the week.
Harold Fannin Jr., by the way, leads the Browns in receptions, and David Njoku is third on the Browns in receptions. Now, the Browns are a terrible team, so maybe I'm arguing against myself, but the point is that the young tight ends, or tight ends in general, I think are an undervalued piece. Okay, so we're going through the top 10, and now we've gone a little bit out of the order that we had planned, but that's okay. I'm glad that we got Kenyon Sadiq into the conversation. So we've covered Jeremiyah Love, Jordyn, Tyson, Carnell, Tate, Makai Lemon, Zachariah Branch, Denzel Boston, and Kenyon Sadiq. Let's go back now to a dynamic, not just receiver, but return man, Mel, from a team that might just win the national championship.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to Field because Field loves him. I grew up with the big red machine and my Dodgers and Davey Concepcion, right? Davey Concepcion. Now you got a guy who was dynamic, I watched him at NC State, Field. I'll go right to you. When I saw him as a freshman at NC State, he was spectacular. And then he ends up, now he's returning punts, and he's doing it. And the thing that Field did impress me was a South Carolina game for KC Concepcion, right? South Carolina game, they fall behind big, right? They're now 30-3 at the half, whatever it was. He had a drop in the end zone, would have been a touchdown. Sure. Right there. You know, where he put it right in his hands, dropped the ball. The next drive, I think it was a drive or whatever later, he had a punt return where he was dynamic. And he did a great. He's got 2 punt returns for touchdowns in a year now. And his first time he's really doing it in terms of the punt return game is this year at Texas A&M. But go ahead, Field. I know you're a big fan of KC Concepcion from Texas A&M.
How great has the portal been for Texas A&M this year? So KC Concepcion began his college career at NC State, as Mel just mentioned, his first season here at Texas A&M. And Greeny, Marcel Reed, their quarterback, has had a really solid season, helped them in that South Carolina comeback. This is the all-explosive team. KC Concepcion makes big plays down the field every single week. That's why he is averaging now 15.9 yards per catch. His teammate Mario Craver, also a transfer to Texas A&M this season, is averaging 16.6 yards per catch. So Concepcion, a guy that I think finds his way into that second round mix. He has been excellent for Texas A&M this season. Really good vertical threat, can play a little bit of that, not big slot, not a gigantic guy, can play some inside as well, though, so has some positional versatility if he comes out, and indications from scouts that have gone through Texas A&M continue to be that Concepcion will declare for this year's draft. I think he's a top 50 pick.
Okay, on we go. We have 2 more to cover here, and then we have a special little Thanksgiving treat for everybody.
The best part.
Field, we have 1 more wide receiver. We have 1 more running back. Field, the wide receiver is Chris Bell from Louisville.
Yeah, this is, Mel, what's your favorite term? The LTPer, right? If I'm getting off the bus and I want one guy to lead the way, it's Chris Bell from Louisville, a guy who's been at Louisville, by the way, played for 4 seasons of college football. That's a rarity in today's process, right? A guy who's at one school for 4 seasons. But Chris Bell has excellent, and I mean excellent, height, weight, speed. We're talking about a 6'2", 215-pound type of wide receiver. Probably going to run somewhere in the 4.4, 4.5 range, but based off of at least his tape. And the part that you want when you have a receiver who has these exceptional measurables is, are they functional measurables? Do you see a player consistently using his weight, his speed, and explosiveness to his advantage? And that has been the case for Chris Bell for much of this season. He is very good after the catch. You can find ways to scheme him opportunities to put that freight train body to work. Chris Bell, another guy, not to sound like a broken record, who I think by the time we get down to it is probably somewhere in the early to mid day 2 range as well.
And then, Mel, that leaves us with one more player, and he's a running back. Yep. And I mean, you want to talk about an embarrassment of riches. We already have a Notre Dame running back at the top of this list. And now, and again, we're just doing a top 10. We have a running back at the bottom.
Yeah, Jadarian Price. And then fielding, you look at this guy in the kick return game. Wow. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. He had 3 kick return touchdowns in his career. He has been a 1-2 punch with Jeremiyah Love like no other. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he is a one cut and go. I mean, he will. It's tough to tackle. This kid, when he gets that head of his team going, tough to tackle. He's only has 3 receptions, so you want to see him next year. And I think he will be, hopefully, as a Fighting Irish fan, back next year where he'll be the guy. He'll be the main entity in that backfield and get more catches and also cut down on the fumbles. He's had, I think, in his career, 4 fumbles lost. Had a couple this year. So, the one, the ball was jarred loose. It happens. But I think, Jeremiyah Love hasn't. He has had. So ball security, shore that up just a little bit. But Jadarian Price is a stud. He is a hell of a back. And like I say, get more catches. No fumbles next year. I think next year he'll be the guy. If he comes out this year, I can't believe. Now, running backs do drop further than they should. But I can't believe if he came out this year and get out of the second round.
I think, I could see a little bit later in day 2, personally. I'll give you my comp. I'm not trying to steal Matt Miller's thunder, but I just want to give, this is at least my opinion of how it helps viewers and listeners right now, is the running back stack this year. How you stack the non-Jeremiyah Love running backs is going to be a little bit of what do you need in your backfield, right? Cleveland drafted 2 guys in the 2nd and 4th round last year who could not be more stylistically opposed, right? Quinshad Judkins, big power runner, Dylan Sampson, to get the ball in space and let him do the hard work as a run after catch player, as we saw on Sunday. So for me, Jadarian Price has a little bit of, and I mean this in a very complimentary fashion, Jordan Mason to him. Jordan Mason, who you want to give him the football and you want him to just run full steam ahead and pick up 5-6 yards a carry with the occasional big one. Boom, he can do that. Not a lot of negative runs, not a lot of plays in the passing game, but if you're looking for a guy who can handle the rock when you've got a lead and is not going to tire in the 4th quarter, Jadarian Price fits that mold as well. I don't know exactly who the second running back will be taken off the board in this year's draft class, but Price, if he does come out, is on the list. And I've gotten the sense, Mel, there's a decent chance he does come out. A lot to be determined for his entire Notre Dame team.
Don't tell me that, Field. Do not tell me that one, boy.
I've gotten the sense it's possible.
I bring his name up because I love Jadarian Price.
Yeah.
And the kid is a heck of a player. And I think if he goes back, he can expand his game to become more involved in that passing attack, like I said, and make sure there's no fumbles lost. But, again, why not go back to Notre Dame? The quarterback's feeling it now. You're going to have a ton of talent around the quarterback, as you always do. Yeah. And that would be your year to not share it or be the second option, right? The number 2 back with Jeremiyah Love being the star. You will be the star. Yeah. So for Jadarian Price, I hope he goes back. He's a day 2 guy. I think second round, maybe because I'm big on him coming from Notre Dame. And I don't know who the second back is right now because Justice Haynes is banged up. Some of the other backs we thought, Jonah Coleman's been banged up a little bit. We thought, I like Emmett Johnson coming out of Nebraska. It really is wide open. There's a lot of backs that are going to go in that 4th to 6th round range, or maybe even a little later. You mentioned Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai was a 7th round pick, and look at the career he had at Rutgers. So some of these running backs are going to get lost in the shuffle. And like I say, after Jeremiyah Love, there's a drop off, no question about that, into that 2nd, 3rd, 4th round area.
So those are our top 10 skill position players as we speak, with a few weeks of the regular season left, the entire college football playoff still to come. And then after that, when the rubber really meets the road, the entire pre-draft process, and we'll be with you. A reminder, once we get through the football season and get into the draft season, we bring you this podcast twice a week. So with this being Thanksgiving week, and many of you perhaps are listening to us or watching us on Thanksgiving, you're working out, you got to getting a little football fix in, whatever the case may be. Obviously, from all of us, a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. We thought we'd have a little fun. So Mel, with all due respect, there's an internet trend that you're probably not aware of. I'm just guessing that. Anytime I see internet trend, I don't usually think, I bet Mel is up on this. We'll find out. But it's blind rankings. So here's what's going to happen.
All right.
Joey G, our esteemed producer, is going to put 5 Thanksgiving Day foods up onto our screen. He's going to do it one at a time.
Okay.
We're going to rank them 1 through 5. So 1 is the best, 1 is the apex, 1 is the very best, 1 is John Elway, and 5 is the worst. But here's the way this works. You have to rank each food as it pops up. So he's going to put something up there. I'm just making an example. Mashed potatoes. I don't know if that's going to be there or where it would go. But you have to rank it 1 through 5, not knowing what the others are going to be. And then in the end, we'll see what our rankings
Can I ask
were.
one question, Greeny?
Yes.
This is just our own personal favorite.
Yes. We're each going to have our
like
own.
what the rest of the world thinks, right? We're just
Correct.
our own.
No. This is all about
opinion.
you. Yeah, this would be good.
Your Thanksgiving Day table, your feast, you sit down there. You
Right,
and
so it's
Kim,
1 to
you got
5,
the-
basically. We're ranking
1
this
through 5.
1 to 5. Yep.
But you're going to rank them blind. So the first one that comes up, you have no idea.
Once we give a 4, we can't give another 4.
Correct.
Correct. That
That's
stays
it.
there. Yes.
Now
so
you're stuck.
choose
Okay.
wisely. Choose
Does
wisely.
everyone understand the idea of the game? Okay, here we go. And I will just make one quick admission. Mel, if it makes you feel any better, this is the first time I've heard of this game as well.
What?
This is an internet trend I also am not intimately familiar with, but I understood it immediately.
You're up at the top of my draft. You remain at the top of my draft.
Oh,
Please
come
don't.
on. Come
Okay.
on.
Here we go. So Joey G is going to put a Thanksgiving food up there, and we have to rank it. 1 is the best, 5 is the worst. Sweet potatoes / yams. Field, where are you putting sweet potatoes?
We've got 5 options here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 4. Like sweet potatoes, got to be prepared properly. Not bad. Not bad, but definitely not the staple of my Thanksgiving plate.
I got a
Not
bad. I hate sweet potatoes because whenever anyone would go up to the store, I'd see it look like a pumpkin pie, and I'd get it with sweet potato pie, and I go, ooh, it's not pumpkin pie.
They're fine. They're fine. They're versatile.
The sweet potato pie for me is
they're
a rat.
fine.
Sweet potato for me is a 20. So
Well,
I'll say
that's
5. I
5.
guess I got to
Okay.
give a number. I'll say 5.
Okay,
All right,
5
Mel's
it
going
is.
5.
Yeah.
I happen to like sweet potatoes a lot if done correctly.
Yeah, they're fine.
None of this marshmallow nonsense. Just plain old sweet potatoes,
How
which
about a
are
little butter on your sweet potato, right? A
and
little
very
butter,
good for you. What's that?
little butter, a little gravy, whatever.
Don't
right?
even need butter. Don't need gravy. Just a sweet potato
I
is
do.
a delightful flavor. I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to go 3 for sweet
Okay,
potato.
3. Yep.
because I
Yep.
assume
All right.
some better things are still coming. All right, turkey / ham as 1.
1.
Okay, so basically the meat that will go on your plate. I'm going to go
meat.
3 here, 3 because, and I think turkey. I'm a big turkey guy on Thanksgiving. I don't do the ham nonsense on Thanksgiving. Turkey, if you have the right gravy, always going to be it's steady Eddie. Again, there are others that are clearly going to take the cake, the proverbial cake here, but turkey's an essential. So give me 3.
Why are you saying, is this turkey? I'm not big in ham. I like turkey.
Okay, yes, but some
Right,
people
the
prefer
turkey.
ham on their
Whatever the meat
Thanksgivings.
is.
It's the weirdos, but it's okay.
All right, so this is I'm going to go 2.
2. Okay, so turkey's important to you.
I'm going to go 4. Frankly, for me, Thanksgiving, the turkey is my least favorite. I am the least excited about the
Interesting.
turkey. It's all about all the things that you're putting around it.
All right.
And turkey is only good if you put stuff on it. Okay, now we're talking stuffing. And I will go first on this one. The reason that I can tolerate turkey, which is generally speaking dry and not very good, is because it is the one time of the year that I eat stuffing. And because I don't know what dessert he's going to choose, I'm going to put stuffing number 1. I love stuffing, and it is the only reason that I find the traditional Thanksgiving meal tolerable. So in the absence of knowing, I might regret this, but I'm going to use my number 1 on stuffing.
Hey, Phil, before you go, I get stuffing made. Kim will make it
Year round.
Year round, just stuffing. Stuffing with a little gravy. Nothing beats it. Stuffing's number 1. Number 1. I love turkey, but stuffing.
It's
number
2.
1.
It's 2 1s.
2 1s. Let's be unanimous here. Stuffing is to Thanksgiving food as Jeremiyah Love is to this year's running back class. It's the
Hey.
clear cut
Wow.
number 1.
Can I ask one question here?
Yeah.
Gravy. I'm a gravy. You know when those gravy boats come out?
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
I always ask people, is that for me? I want the whole boat. Okay, the whole and what I would do, Phil, you'll love this in Greeny. I start pouring it. They say, "Can you please stop?" We only have a few of them. So that Kim will always say, "I got to make more gravy because of you." I'm a gravy freak. Okay.
Here's how you do this, Mel. I can solve this problem for you.
Okay.
Dip. Just take the
Yeah.
gravy, put it next to you, then take a bite and dip it a little bit in the gravy no one else will want.
My plate looks like a river of gravy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right.
a good plate right there. I admire your
We did
stance
put
on that.
mashed potatoes up next.
Yep.
I'm going mashed potatoes all the way. I know I'm leaving myself vulnerable here, but I'm going mashed potatoes all the way at the bottom. Not a huge fan. and I've already got my sweet potato ahead of it. So I got my sweet potato for my starch, if you will. I'm going mashed potatoes all the way at the bottom at number 5.
I've kind of boxed myself into a bit of a corner here because I only have 2 and 5 left available. And I can tell you that I prefer mashed potatoes to sweet potatoes, but I don't prefer the mashed potatoes to the turkey. So whatever, I'm going to go with 2. I'll probably regret this when Joe throws some delicious dessert at number 5 here. But number 2 for mashed potatoes. You know why? Hey, I like versatility. Once again, I like the versatile things. I said that about sweet potatoes, but mashed potatoes, they are more versatile. They're like the Arvell Reese, potatoes. You can do anything with them. You can put salt on them, gravy. You can put cheese in them. You can use them to make vegetables taste less unappealing. Mashed potatoes, number 2.
There was something about when I was a kid and there were lumps in my mashed potatoes. That made me sick and I hated lumps.
Yeah.
Now I don't mind any of that. Give me any kind of mashed potatoes. You don't have to be that crazy. Mashed potatoes, since I have stuffing 1, turkey 2, is great. If gravy's separate, gravy would be up there as a co-1. But I'm going to go stuffing 1, turkey 2, and I'm going to go mashed potatoes 3.
And there's only 1 left. And, Mel.
Oh, yes.
Pumpkin pie, your great love. And you don't have, I think all you have available to you is number 4.
Well, then you know why? Because now Joe can throw me a curveball here. I was thinking desserts are separate. It's like I'm thinking about the mains. That's why I want gravy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put gravy in there.
You can't do that.
And then I'm going to put pumpkin pie in as my add-on, my number 1 after I got gravy and to fill out my 5. Okay, gravy's got to be on this list.
Mel, what are you doing here? Hey, let me give you guys
my brother-in-law hates gravy. He never puts gravy on anything.
Well, you should disown it.
Carbonic will not put gravy on anything, and it makes me think, are you crazy? No gravy? To me, gravy's part of the equation. So key. No gravy, it's not the same.
I got a question for you, Mel. Let me ask you a question.
And by the way, pumpkin pie without fat-free whipped cream is not in the top 5. So I'm pumpkin pie, fat-free whipped cream together as a combo. Number 1. Without the fat-free whipped cream, pumpkin pie drops down significantly. Okay,
I think I'm not going to lie. Like, I'll give this a C+ effort from you in your first time blind ranking. But let me just play this out here. You're just like throwing extra foods into the rankings. If the Browns have the number 1 pick,
you know why I left the spot, by the way?
Hold on, no.
Got a cranberry sauce. I hate cranberry sauce.
Yeah, cranberry sauce is part
of that stuff. Okay.
So I'm obviously going 5 for pumpkin pie because it's my only spot left over. I feel okay about it. But if the Raiders end up with the number 1 pick this year, you think John Spytek, their GM, can go up there and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take Julian Sayin from Ohio State. No! Because he's not eligible until next year. So you can't just magically throw whatever it was you just threw into the mix because you want to.
That's not relevant.
Yes, it is. You're trying to make gravy part of this equation.
Yeah, he's not one of the choices. My stuff is
gravy's not eligible either.
My stuff is all eligible.
No, gravy's not eligible for this.
But gravy is eligible. Gravy is real. Gravy is real. Without gravy, none of this other stuff is worth a damn. Okay? So to me, gravy should be up there at 1. I've already filled out my 5. You can take the sweet potatoes and throw them out the window. I don't really care about sweet potatoes. And pumpkin pie without fat-free whipped cream is why I couldn't even do this list. Because you're going to say pumpkin pie standing alone? I don't eat pumpkin pie standing alone. I can't. Unless I have fat-free whipped cream or even regular ready whipped cream, I'm okay with that. But fat-free ready whipped, without that, forget it.
Yeah.
It's a no deal.
Yeah.
I would say the last 10 minutes of this podcast, there's no way anyone will believe that this has not been Frank Caliendo playing the role of Mel Kiper. I think if you're just listening to this, there's no way. When Mel is breaking down the fat-free whipped cream and he's adding gravy to a list that does not exist already on, that
should have been in the top 10, not the top 5.
That sounded like Frank Caliendo doing Mel Kiper more than it sounded like Mel Kiper doing Mel Kiper.
Let me take it off. It is Frank, by the way. Let me take it all off here.
So this was fun. It always is. From all of us, I know I speak for you guys when I say a happy Thanksgiving to everybody and their families. We hope you were able to enjoy some fun time away from your usual responsibilities and take a moment to talk about and think about the things that you appreciate. We know we appreciate so greatly every one of you that spends your time with us every week or any week. A reminder, you can scan the QR code that you see on your screen there. You can catch up with all the conversations we've had all season long. We're with you every single Wednesday on the NFL on ESPN YouTube channel, on ESPN2, wherever you get your podcasts. If you can, please like and subscribe to the podcast for us and keep tweeting your questions using the hashtag FirstDraft for a chance to be prominently featured on this program. So once again, for Mel and for Field, I am Greeny. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Everybody.